It's one thing to reduce anxiousness you feel when you are presenting on camera, but it's a whole nother thing to feel and exude confidence. Stay tuned on Moxie Talk. We are going to discuss how to have confidence in your next on-camera appearance. Hi everyone, I'm Fia Fastbinder and welcome to Moxie Talk, where we help you find your voice, share your message, and lead with confidence. Now, speaking in front of people is enough to cause anybody anxiety. Speaking to a live audience on camera, that's where almost everybody gets so nervous, you get hit hard with those nerves. But why? I mean, it's just a camera, right? It doesn't have teeth, it's not carrying a gun. But depending on the setup, you might not be able to see your audience at all, like sometimes in a Zoom meeting or in a webinar. And when you can't get that nonverbal feedback, when you can't read the virtual room and you have no idea how your presentation is going over, you have no idea if everyone's leaning in to hear more, you can't see if they're ducking down to check their email, you can't see laughs or frowns or anything. That great unknown causes everybody anxiety. Now, most of us are fine staying out of the spotlight, doing our own thing, staying away from the public speaking, staying away from the public's eyes, staying away from as many eyes as we can that might be judging us, right? Might be giving us trial by fire. But to be in front of so many eyes and have no clue how we're doing, it can feel like you are talking into the great abyss, like you're stumbling down this dark alleyway in the middle of the night looking for your hotel. Most people only put themselves in this situation when they absolutely have to, when they are doing a video for their business, when they're giving a webinar, giving information to people, when they're leading a training session or a sales presentation. And when you have to do it, there's nothing like knowing you have some tools in your speaker toolbox to help you with the nerves. The good news is that managing anxiety in front of a camera is the same as managing anxiety in front of a live audience. Speaking is really speaking, and I'm a firm believer that public speaking is anytime you're not speaking to yourself. Whether you're speaking in front of a crowd or a camcorder, it's important that you work on getting your message across and reducing the nerves. The most important thing we have to do as a public speaker, whether it's in front of a boardroom or in front of a camera, is make sure our message comes across. And the opposite of speaking with confidence is a speaker that's full of uncertainty. They have no faith in their message. They're not sure if the people on the other side are resonating with them, hearing them, understanding them, or if they have even the ability to deliver that message. So speaking with confidence gives you as a speaker the entire bearing. It says, I belong up here. I belong in this virtual room, and what I have to say is important. There are some practical tips that I can give you to make sure that you are being confident in front of the camera when it's rolling, or even if you're giving a presentation to a live audience. First, aim to serve. Know that speaking with confidence doesn't mean thinking, I'm a rock star and you owe me your attention. That's not really what it means. It means being camera ready is having a confidence that's authentic to you, that it is the opposite of having an ego. It's really understanding that you were chosen to speak for a reason, that you are the subject matter expert, that you belong up there, and that you have something to contribute to that audience. That is a big step towards upping your confidence. Making sure that internally you're stepping up to the role of messenger. I am a firm believer that you are just a vessel for your message. You are not there to please the audience. You're not there to entertain them, although that's nice too. You're really there to serve them, and to serve them by teaching them, by solving a problem they have, by helping them understand something they didn't understand before. That is your purpose. Now, yes, you're in the spotlight, but your purpose is really to serve. And understanding that really takes a lot of pressure off you as a speaker. You're not there to be a rock star or to be Tony Robbins. You're really there to help. And if you can help one person on the other end of that screen, you've really done your job. You have something important to deliver to the people listening, and you really have to own that. You were chosen for a reason. You are the subject matter expert, and you are there to serve people listening to you. I've seen countless speakers make this small tweak to their mindset, and it has huge results in their confidence. Knowing that you are a contributor to helping people on the other side of that screen is a great way to just go in with the right mindset, even if you can't see the people you're helping. Now, the second tip I have for confidence is to really dress the part. You'll have an easier time sounding like you belong in front of that camera and looking like you belong in front of that camera if you look the part. You don't have to wear a suit or even a ballroom gown. You don't have to look like some stuffy newscaster. You also don't want to look like you just woke up and threw on some pajamas. I know a lot of people these days on Zoom calls have gotten really casual. It's kind of like, common to see people in their hoodies and their disheveled bedhead. But taking an extra measure to make sure that you dress the part and dress with confidence will automatically make you feel better and give you that added credibility. If this is an important speaking appearance and you're on camera, even if you are in your bedroom or your living room, make sure you take the time to up your appearance. Do your hair, put on something that makes you feel confident, maybe business casual. And dressing like this will absolutely guarantee your confidence. One general rule of thumb, if you're not sure how to dress and you don't want to be overdressed or, look really different from your audience, is to think to dress one level above your audience. So if they're in hoodies, you could probably wear jeans, but wear a nice shirt. If they're wearing jeans and a nice shirt, like most of the kind of people in tech these days, maybe wear a button-down shirt. So make sure that you're one step above them as far as your apparel. And on that note, even if you look the part, even if you are wearing something that makes you look and feel like a rock star, your outfit on camera sometimes can cause technical problems. So take care to make sure that your clothing isn't an extreme color, something like bright green or yellow or red that will make your face color change. Make sure that you are not wearing white because it can throw off the white balance of the camera. And make sure that you're not wearing patterns that can make the patterns dance and everyone feels like they're in a rave looking at your clothes. If you want more tips on what to wear on camera, if you're really not sure, we have a whole video on how to dress the part for camera appearances. So make sure to check that out after you watch this video. My third tip for confidence on camera is no staring into the souls of your audience. Maintaining eye contact with people is a way of keeping people engaged. That's true. That means you should look into the camera lens. But looking in from start to finish of your presentation is just creepy. A good rule of thumb is that when you're speaking to an audience, that's when you should look into the lens. But if your eyes stay locked on the camera lens the entire time like I'm doing now, it's strange. People don't do this in real life. If you were having a conversation with somebody that was behind the camera, you would glance away every once in a while. Your eyes would look up, maybe look down. You don't want to do this a ton. You don't want to be reading notes off a camera to the side. You also don't want to be looking up like this to remember what to say or looking down. But staring at the camera like this the entire time is psycho killer-like. It's okay to look away every once in a while, but as a general rule of thumb, make sure you're looking in the lens of the camera. That is where the audience feels like you are looking to them, but make sure that you also keep it natural. You'll see every once in a while in these videos, my eyes dart too, because I'm thinking about what to say, and that's what we naturally do in conversation. If you can see people on the other end of the camera, if you can see your audience, this is another great technique to help calm nerves. Just seeing people's eyes, even if it's eye contact in a virtual space, it absolutely helps settle our nerve. It helps us release oxytocin, which is that bonding chemical that babies and moms release during nursing. So eye contact is a great way to make your audience feel heard, and also a great way to make you feel relaxed. Speaking of distractions, don't dance in the camera. Even if you're a dancer like me, I mean, unless you want to really dance in the camera, but what I'm really trying to say is don't wiggle around and don't move too much, especially in camera. You know, on a large stage, repetitive movement is difficult enough to watch and definitely causes distractions in your viewer. But in a camera, I mean, look what happens when I just do something as small as this or this. Playing with my hair or wringing my hands back and forth. So all of these little kind of body movements that are repetitive absolutely take your viewer away from your message, and they're spending the entire time focusing on when is he going to stop doing that thing he's doing with his hands. It's important to make sure that you are not doing any kind of repetitive movements. And if you don't know if you're doing repetitive movements as a presenter, I highly recommend that you watch yourself back on video. It is so telling. And it is so difficult. I know it's really hard to watch ourselves, but the only way to make sure you're not swaying from side to side literally the entire time, or looking like you have to go to the bathroom, is to watch yourself on video. A general rule of thumb, especially on camera, is to plant your feet firmly on the ground. Stand shoulder width apart if you're standing. If you're seated, even still, make sure your feet are on the ground. You can do yourself a solid by not sitting in one of those chairs that goes back and forth, like an office chair, because you'll be less apt to go back and forth. Maybe sit on a stool or, like a bar stool. When you get in your head and you start to go down this hamster wheel of anxiety or what you're going to say next, simply bringing yourself back to the present moment by touching something or doing something physical will absolutely snap you right back into that moment. And putting your feet on the floor and feeling your feet on the floor, feeling your toes inside your shoes, wiggling your toes inside your shoes, all of that will bring you back to the present moment, will make sure you not only look grounded, but you feel grounded as well. Early on, in the pandemic, when everything went virtual, we worked with a very well-known company whose speakers were really advanced speakers. They knew how to own a stage. But what they didn't know how to do is own that virtual stage. And they had everybody up on stage, all these very well-known executives within the company, and they had them on a stage for a panel discussion, and half of them spent the whole time doing this in their chairs. And this was a live conference that they had to actually end early so that they could talk to the executives about better ways of presenting to make sure that the audience wasn't distracted. And in the live feed that was going through, as people were watching that virtual conference, everybody was talking about the wiggly movement of these executives and not their message. So make sure that you stay grounded and still within any kind of on-camera speaking appearance. So how could those executives have avoided the moving in their chair experience for their audience? The answer is simple, and I know it's something most of us don't want to hear, but it's rehearsal. Now, a lot of us don't rehearse because we don't know how to rehearse. And if you are wondering how to rehearse, there is a sweet spot between rehearsing not enough and rehearsing too much. Now, we touch on rehearsal in this video, but it's important enough to repeat that if you want to understand how to rehearse like a pro, we have so many videos on rehearsal. Everything from how to rehearse for a live stage presentation, how to rehearse from a meeting, how to rehearse for an on-camera appearance. So please go back and watch some of those videos that I dedicated 100% to the art and science of rehearsal. So I'm going to just, go high level on rehearsal right now, which is that you don't want to neglect rehearsal, but you also don't want to try to remember every word of your script. That is not how you rehearse. So if you are trying to memorize verbatim everything, you run the risk of boring yourself to tears. You run the risk of forgetting what is really important here, which is taking your audience on a journey. Now, there's one common denominator in all of this, which is to reduce distractions from the message you're there to deliver. And if you rehearse, you help yourself reduce distractions, because look, things can go wrong. Things can definitely go wrong in a virtual presentation where there's tech distractions. Sometimes tech breaks down, audiences are not muted, and that distracts you. But if you've rehearsed, you make sure that you are confident that you can stay on track and it's not going to derail you if there is a distraction. So you'll deliver 100% better if you rehearse. And if your audience is distracted by you, a couple rehearsals in there will make sure you have some audience engagement techniques to make sure that they're listening. Last but not least, we are going to touch on the fear of speaking. Now, anybody that's watched my videos knows that my jam is helping people walk towards fear, and especially walk towards fear of speaking in public. So again, just like rehearsal, I'm not going to get too in-depth into how to be a confident public speaker and walk towards fear, because I have so many videos on this. But I will say that the moment you feel those butterflies kicking in your stomach, the moment you feel that, you share something in common with every single public speaker, past and present. Nerves strike every speaker that does a presentation ever. No exceptions. That just means it matters. So what I'm trying to say is JFK, Winston Churchill, every TED speaker you've ever thought of, everyone that you have thought, oh, these people probably don't get nerves. They do. When I was in acting school, we had a saying, which is, if you're not nervous, you're dead, which means two things. To me, that means that everybody living and breathing gets nerves because it's part of the way we are hardwired. It also means that you care. That's it. It means you care. The other way I take that is that nervous energy can actually give life to our presentation. It's those speakers that are like, I'm not nervous, I got that. That's when things go down, when things go wrong. So nerves, if you can channel them, actually fuel your presentation and give it life. Now, I know this is easier said than done. How do you channel the nerves? Well, the first is to get rid of this antiquated notion that you can conquer anxiety, that you can eliminate fear or nervousness from your speaking. It's absolutely unrealistic. It's not possible, and more than anything, it's discouraging. So just know that if you are going to speak in public in front of others, whether it is on stage with a live audience or in a on-camera appearance where you can't see your audience, you need to accept that you are going to feel nervous. Sometimes I say, can you imagine Michael Phelps? He's standing on the edge of the pool, waiting to jump, the whole world watching him. Do you think he feels nerves? Of course he does. But he knows that those nerves are a sidekick to what he is about to do, that anybody that does something that means so much experiences nerves. And we all find a way with some techniques to not overcome those nerves, but to channel them, not eliminate them, but to use that energy to actually fuel our presentation. You are not aspiring to be fearless. And you're going to hear me say this a lot in my videos. You are aspiring to fear less, which is something that I and every other trainer here at Moxie knows a lot about. I hope that this video gave you some techniques that will help you have confidence in your on-camera speaking appearance and your off-camera speaking appearance. If you found this valuable, please feel free to pass it on to a friend or colleague who might need these techniques as well. Also, I would love it if you could share this video, like this video, and subscribe to our channel. And if you want to know more about the fearless public speakers we have here at Moxie, check out moxieinstitute.com, and I will see you next time.